Imagine AI writes a client update in 10 seconds. It sounds polished, and it saves you 20 minutes. Then you notice the problem. It promised a delivery date, nobody checked. The output was fast, but the trust problem moved to you. By the end, you'll have a simple test for when to use AI fast, when to check it slowly, and when to reject the output. The new bottleneck. For a long time, AI tools were sold around speed. Write faster, summarize faster, research faster, reply faster, make the first draft faster. And to be fair, speed is useful. If you're staring at a blank page, a rough AI draft can break the freeze. If you're sorting notes, a summary can help you find the shape faster. If you're exploring options, a quick first pass can be valuable. But once AI moves from novelty into normal work, the bottleneck changes. Gallup reported in April 2026 that half of US employees now use AI in their role at least a few times a year. 28% use it a few times a week or more. 13% use it daily. So this is no longer just a power user problem, it's becoming an ordinary work problem. And ordinary work has consequences. The client reply goes to a real client, the meeting summary turns into action items, the forecast changes staffing. The support answer teaches a customer what your company believes. The decision memo shapes what a team does next. In those moments, the question is not only, how fast did AI make this? The better question is, can anyone trust this enough to act on it? That sounds slower, but it may be the only kind of speed that actually counts, the verification tax. Here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes AI saves time at the front of the task and spends it at the back. You save 10 minutes writing the email, then spend 15 minutes checking the promise inside it. You generate a clean meeting summary, then reread the transcript because the most important disagreement got softened. You ask for a market overview, then chase the sources because one number looks too neat. The work did get faster, just not the whole work. One 2026 survey from OneUp.ai found that for an AI-powered knowledge assistant, users valued accuracy of outputs most, with source transparency close behind. Speed was not the deciding factor in that survey. Treat that carefully. It is one survey signal, not a law of human behavior. But it points to a friction many AI users already recognize. Speed is impressive until the output becomes something you have to defend. This is the verification tax. It's the hidden cost between receiving an answer and being able to use it. If the task is low stakes, the tax is small. Brainstorming 10 headline ideas, cleaning up rough notes, making a checklist for yourself. Speed can matter more than perfect accuracy because the cost of being wrong is low and easy to reverse. But if the output affects a customer, a budget, a public claim, a hiring decision, or a strategic choice, the tax gets larger. You cannot measure productivity only by how fast the answer appeared. You have to measure the full path from prompt to trusted action. And that path is where AI gets interesting. Accuracy is not one thing. The reason trust is hard is that accuracy is not a single checkbox. An AI output can be factually correct and still wrong for the situation. It can quote the right number and still use it in the wrong context. It can summarize a meeting accurately and still miss the decision everyone understood between the lines. It can write a support answer that sounds helpful, but applies the wrong policy to the wrong customer. It can build a forecast that looks reasonable, while hiding the weak data underneath it. So when we say accuracy matters, we are really talking about several layers. First, factual accuracy. Are the names, dates, figures, and claims correct? Second, source accuracy. Can you tell where the claim came from and whether that source is good enough for this use? Third, context accuracy. Does the answer fit this customer, this team, this region, this product, this moment? Fourth, consequence accuracy. What breaks if someone acts on this? Fifth, ownership accuracy. Who is willing to put their name on it? This is why model capability alone does not settle the trust problem. The 2026 Stanford AI Index shows the strange shape of progress. AI systems are getting dramatically more capable. On SWE Bench Verified, coding benchmark performance moved from about 60% to near 100% in a single year. AI agents also jumped to roughly 66% task success on OS World, a benchmark for real computer tasks. But the same report points out the jagged frontier. Some systems can perform extremely well on hard benchmarks and still fail simpler seeming tasks. It notes that a top model read analog clocks correctly only 50.1% of the time. It also found documented AI incidents rose to 362, up from 233 in 2024. The lesson is not AI is bad, the lesson is sharper. Capability is uneven, and trust depends on the task. A tool can be brilliant in one lane and brittle in another. A response can sound fluent and still need checking. A workflow can feel automated until one wrong assumption reaches the customer. Correct fact. Wrong context. Bad decision. That is the trust problem in one line. Trust needs proof. Now the speed conversation becomes a management conversation. If a team only rewards speed, people learn to ship AI output quickly. If a team rewards trusted work, people learn to ask different questions. Where did the number come from? What source is being used? What assumption changed? What happens if this answer is wrong? Who approves it before it leaves the company? EY surveyed 500 U.S. technology business leaders in February 2026. 85% said their organization prioritizes speed to market and iterative innovation over exhaustive pre-launch vetting and total regulatory alignment. More than half, 52%, said department-level AI initiatives were operating without formal approval or oversight. That is the first warning. Speed is often visible before trust is. Then comes the second warning. 78% said AI adoption was outpacing their organization's ability to manage business risks effectively. Picture a manager reading an AI-assisted decision memo. The memo is clean. The recommendation is confident. But nobody can say which source supplied the market number, who checked the customer impact, or what happens if the assumption is wrong. That is not a formatting problem, it is a trust problem. KPMG's 2026 Global AI in Finance Survey shows the positive version of the same idea. Active AI use in finance rose from 30% to 75% since 2024. But the more useful signal was assurance readiness. Organizations that were assurance ready reported error reduction, improvements of 33%, compared with 6% for peers. They were also more confident in scaling AI, 42% versus 14%. In that setting, trust was not a feeling, it was a system of proof. This matters even if you do not work in finance. The principle travels. The more consequential the output, the more trust has to be visible before speed counts as productivity. The speed/accuracy test. So here is the practical test. Before you use an AI output, ask 5 questions. Start with consequence. What happens if this is wrong? If the answer is almost nothing, speed can lead. Use the draft. Explore the options. Let AI help you move. But when a customer may be misled, a budget may shift, or a public claim may spread, accuracy moves to the front. Next, check the source. If the output includes a number, quote, policy, comparison, or recommendation, you need to know where it came from. If the source is invisible, the output may still be useful, but it is not ready to rely on. Then test the context. A generic answer may be correct in a vacuum and wrong for your customer, your audience, your product, your market, or your constraints. After that, ask about reversibility. Can you undo the decision quickly? If yes, speed is safer. If the decision becomes public, expensive, contractual, or hard to walk back, slow down. Finally, ask who owns it. This is the question people avoid. Would you send it if your name was attached? Would you defend it if a client, manager, or customer asked where it came from? If the answer is no, the output is not finished work. Use it as a draft. Use it as a starting point. Use it as a second opinion. But do not confuse AI wrote it with the work is done. The best AI users are not the people who trust every output. They are also not the people who distrust everything and never move. They are calibrated. They know when speed is the point and when speed is the trap. So yes, AI speed matters. It matters when you need momentum, options, structure, or a first pass. But trust decides whether that speed survives contact with real work. The client does not care that the update was generated in 10 seconds if the promise inside it is wrong. The manager does not care that the forecast appeared instantly if nobody can explain the data. The customer does not care that the support answer was fast if it sends them in the wrong direction. The real productivity question is not, how quickly did AI answer? It is, how quickly can we know whether the answer is accurate enough to use? That is why accuracy may matter more than speed, not because speed is useless. Because speed without trust is only motion. The next time AI gives you something polished, pause before you forward it. Ask what would break if it were wrong. Ask where the claim came from. Ask whether you would put your name on it. That is the difference between using AI fast and using AI well. And as AI agents start acting faster on our behalf, that difference is going to matter even more.